For 14 years, housekeeper Mildred Baina harbored a secret she knew would be devastating to the woman she worked for every day. But in the end, the boy's looks gave his father away.
Think you know everything about your favorite celebrities? Think again. We're revealing 25 illicit love children whose existence will leave you speechless. Number 25. Scott Eastwood. But did you know about Scott Eastwood's hidden family secret? Scott Eastwood was born on March 21, 1986 in Monterey, California to Eastwood and flight attendant Jacqueline Reeves. The actor says he spent his childhood being dragged around to movie sets and that his dad taught him the value of hard work as a kid. "My dad was always super active and got me in the gym at a young age," he told People in 2015. "He wanted me to be health conscious, healthy body, healthy mind. That's what he preached to me." Scott added, "My dad was pretty old school. I've had a job since I can remember, and it's not like he was, 'Hey, what kind of car do you want?' My first car was a 91 Ford Crown Victoria that was $1,000, and I had to buy every car after that. I had to do it all." Scott worked hard to snag a role in one of his dad's films and was eventually cast in Gran Torino. He's also appeared in The Longest Ride, Snowden, The Fate of the Furious, Pacific Rim, and Suicide Squad. Eastwood also encouraged Scott to get into directing. Like he says, "It's feast or famine for an actor," Scott said in 2016. "If you're not creating your own material, then you're just fighting for whatever's out there. I definitely have the desire to go to the other side." Scott has had high-profile relationships with several Hollywood stars, including One Tree Hill alum Jana Kramer, Nina Dobrev, and model Brittany Brousseau. The actor admitted he struggled with dating after tragically losing his girlfriend, Jewel Brangman, in a 2014 car accident. "I've lost friends before. I've lost some great friends. But I had never lost someone I'd been really intimate with, you know, like in that way, in a relationship," he told GQ Australia. "I think that really affected me in a way that, I don't know, maybe it's made it harder for me to date."
Your father, of course, Clint Eastwood, and I just wanted to mention it's got to be strange because I would think, okay, this is your dad.
Who again?
Clint. His name's Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me is that I learned that you have to audition for his movies, which seems weird to me because you'd think he'd know what you can do, what you can't do.
Yeah, no. No. He does not. He does not. I don't think he likes me in his movies.
Number 24. Katherine Eastwood. Wait till you hear about Katherine Eastwood's surprising secret. Eastwood and Reeves' second child, Katherine Ann Eastwood, was born on February 2, 1988 in Carmel. She was named Miss Golden Globe in 2005. Like many of her siblings, Katherine followed her father into the world of acting. She started in 2014 when she appeared as Tommy's girlfriend in Jersey Boys, which her father directed. Katherine has appeared in many films since and has also begun writing, including for the zombie horror anthology Virus of the Dead.
From home.
So, I never knew.
It's a part of life. It's a part of me.
Number 23. Francesca Eastwood. Francesca Eastwood's story will leave you speechless. Francesca Eastwood was born on August 7, 1993 in Redding, California. She's Eastwood's first and only child with British actress Frances Fisher. Like her older brother Kyle, Francesca attended the University of Southern California. She caught the public's attention in 2012 when she started E's reality show Mrs. Eastwood and Company, which followed her family life with stepmom Dina and sister Morgan. She was also named Miss Golden Globe in 2013. Francesca played a small part in 2014's Jersey Boys as a waitress. She also had roles in episodes of Fargo and Twin Peaks and starred in the 2021 M. Night Shyamalan film Old. The actress tied the knot with Jonah Hill's late brother and Maroon 5 manager Jordan Feldstein in 2013, but the union was annulled a week later. Francesca also dated personal trainer Alexander Wraith, with whom she welcomed her son Titan Wraith Eastwood in 2018.
It's been a whirlwind, but it's been really fun. It's cool. It's a very busy week for me, but it's very exciting, so it's easy. I'm so excited to see, or to meet Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. I'm a huge fan of both of theirs. My mom is coming. I don't think my dad's gonna come. He's been to the Globes quite a lot. Yeah, I've actually been to the Globes with him before, and I kind of grew up doing red carpets, so I'm pretty set on doing red carpets. I am a little nervous about being on stage.
Number 22, Laurie Murray. Discover Laurie Murray's untold connection to a Hollywood icon. Eastwood's oldest child, Laurie Murray, was born in 1954. The actor was reportedly unaware of Laurie's birth, and she was placed up for adoption. According to the Daily Mail, Eastwood and Laurie reconnected years later. In 2004, she joined her father at the Oscars. Laurie also celebrated the premiere of Eastwood's film The Mule with her siblings in 2018.
It's not uncommon for adoptees to search for their birth parents, but how many find out their birth father is an Oscar-winning actor and director?
The legendary actor Clint Eastwood on the red carpet. With him are all his children, and we do mean all. That's his daughter, 64-year-old Laurie Eastwood, who was making her own premiere of sorts at the premiere of Clint's new movie, The Mule. She was born out of wedlock before the actor was famous.
Number 21, Kimber Eastwood. Kimber Eastwood's story is more intriguing than you think. Kimber Eastwood was born on June 17, 1964 to Eastwood and Roxanne Tunis in Los Angeles. Kimber briefly pursued acting and appeared in movies like Passion Crimes and Crossed, as well as some of her father's films. Since then, Kimber has produced TV and film projects and primarily works as a makeup artist. She's been the lead makeup artist for many reality shows, including Wheel of Fortune and Dog the Bounty Hunter, plus her father's film, The Mule. Kimber has been married 3 times and has one adult son, Clinton. She wed her current husband, producer Sean Midkiff, in 2014.
Well, Clint isn't the only Eastwood who can make your day. Kimber Eastwood has stepped out of the shadow of her famous father to build her own career in the entertainment industry as a successful makeup artist and now producer. Earlier this year, she produced a film called Rapture and is now in New Mexico producing the new feature film, Dominion. I'm so happy to say that Kimber is joining us this morning here on New Mexico Style. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Number 20, Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler's family history includes a surprising twist. Lord of the Rings actress Liv Tyler was born of an affair between her mother, model Bebe Buell, and Aerosmith frontman Steven Tyler. At the time, her mother was in a long-term relationship with rocker Todd Rundgren, and the baby, born in July 1977, was named Liv Rundgren. Though he knew he might not be her father, Rundgren signed her birth certificate, in part to protect the baby from Tyler's drug addiction. Liv first met Steven Tyler at 8 years old and learned the truth of her parentage soon after. In 1994, she starred in the Aerosmith music video for Crazy. Liv Tyler has 3 siblings via her father, Mia Tyler, born 1978, and Chelsea and Taj Tallarico, born 1989 and 1991. She has 1 son, Milo, from her marriage to ex-husband Royston Langdon.
Sister named Mia, who's a year younger than me, and I saw her standing on the side of the stage at a concert, and I literally was like looking at my twin. She looked exactly like me, and I looked at my mom, and she had tears in her eyes, and I kind of put it all together. Yes, I did find out that he was my dad, but I kind of figured it out because he looked exactly like.
Number 19, Dina DiCioli. Dina DiCioli's Hollywood connection will surprise you. In 1963, Chuck Norris fathered a daughter with Dina DiCioli, the result of an extramarital affair with a woman called Joanna while married to his first wife, Diane Holchek. At the time, the 83-year-old actor never told her he was married and didn't know she'd fallen pregnant until Dina wrote to him in 1991, informing him that she was his biological daughter. According to the publication, Norris wrote in his book that he didn't need any DNA test to confirm the paternity because when he met Dina, it was as though he had known her all his life. Chuck has said he did not need a DNA test to confirm he was her father and had an emotional meeting with her and her mom.
He was in the Army when the fatal affair happened. Dina Norris was born after Chuck cheated on his first wife. Mother later confirmed to Dina that I was her biological father. but that I was married and had children, and she shouldn't disrupt my life.
Number 18. Damien Hurley. Damien Hurley's parentage reveals a Hollywood scandal. Damien Charles Hurley is a British actor and model. He's the son of actress Elizabeth Hurley and American businessman Steve Bing. Hurley was born in Portland Hospital, London, to actress Elizabeth Hurley and American businessman Steve Bing. Although Bing initially denied paternity, a DNA test subsequently confirmed him as the father. In a court settlement of his child support obligations, Bing agreed to pay £1.8 million in annual installments of £100,000 for Hurley, although his mother declined to accept the payments. Hurley's godfathers include Hugh Grant, David Beckham, Elton John, and Dennis Leary. Hurley grew up in Gloucestershire with his mother and her then-spouse, Indian business tycoon Arun Nair. Hurley later lived part-time in Australia because of his mother's relationship with Australian cricket player Shane Warne. Damien seems just as comfortable in front of the camera as his famous mother. Before he started his modeling career, Damien was a budding actor, starring alongside his mother in The Royals. He played Prince Hansel von Liechtenstein in Season 3 of the series and shared scenes with his mother, who called the experience just fantastic.
Welcome, our friends!
Cheers!
Cheers!
To your new movie.
Salute!
Salute!
It's
Congratulations!
so great.
And Damien, this is your first feature, which you wrote and directed, quite ambitious, and your mom having to star in it. Tell us about it.
I know, well, I was 20 when we wrote it. I mean, I made a short film over lockdown, and one of the head executives at Lionsgate saw it and called me up and said, we want you to write and direct a feature, which was terrifying at 20 to hear.
Number 17. Nina Brando. Nina Brando's background story is a Hollywood mystery. Born May 13, 1989, 32-year-old Nina Brando is the eldest child of Marlon Brando and Maria Cristina Ruiz, his longtime housekeeper. During their 13-year love affair, Marlon and Maria welcomed Miles and Timothy. All three children have stayed out of the spotlight, and little is known about them. Number 16. Carol Ann Berry. Carol Ann Berry's lineage has a surprising Hollywood twist. The protagonist of the courtroom drama consisted of a young mother, a putative father, and an adorable red-haired baby. In the early 1940s, as war raged abroad, the inquest unfolded in a packed Los Angeles courtroom. This was not just any paternity suit. The mother was Joan Berry, a 23-year-old aspiring actress, the baby her daughter Carol Ann, and the accused father, Charlie Chaplin, Hollywood celebrity. Berry was Chaplin's one-time protege, and in happier times, the two had read Shakespeare together and practiced drama. Now, the 54-year-old actor, whose penchant for much younger women was well known, stood accused of fathering Berry's baby. He admitted the romance but vehemently denied the paternity charge. A week after the case broke, the actor wed his fourth wife, the 18-year-old daughter of playwright Eugene O'Neill. Not yet born when the suit over her paternity was filed over the case of the saga, Carol Ann blossomed into an amiable toddler. She was a courtroom fixture, sitting on the wooden table in front of her mother's lawyer. The press gleefully reported on her colorful pinafores and penchant for patty cake. Still, the legal proceedings were serious business. At stake was the identity of a child. Number 15. John Mongo. John Mungo's family ties to Hollywood will astonish you. There was a period of time in which Hugh Grant was a very busy man, and he managed to father 4 children in just 4 years. In 2012, Grant had his second child, a son named John Mongo, born to television producer Anna Eberstein. John was born in September of 2012, but according to Us Weekly, the actor was not registered on the birth certificate as the father until the following year. Before the birth of John Mongo, however, Grant had a daughter, Tabitha, with a restaurant hostess, Tinglan Hong, and not long after John Mungo's birth, he had a second child with Hong, a son named Felix, born just 3 months after John Mongo. But wait, it gets even more complicated. Following the birth of Felix, Grant then went on to have another child with Eberstein, which was reportedly a baby girl. So that's 4 babies with 2 different women. Number 14. Kevin Brophy. Kevin Brophy's secret Hollywood heritage is revealed. Kevin Brophy, an actor best known for his roles in the short-lived sci-fi series Lucan and the cult horror film Hell Night, died May 11th at his home in Rancho Santa Fe, California. He was 70 years old. Brophy was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer 10 years ago. Born in Salt Lake City on November 1, 1953, Brophy starred in a play about Jesse James during his senior year in college. As a result, his headshot appeared in the Los Angeles Times, leading an agent at William Morris to sign him. A year later, on his way driving to his audition for Lucan, he cut off what turned to be an MGM executive who thought Brophy was perfect for the part. Lucan, about a young man raised by wolves, lasted only one season. He later popped up in episodes of The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries, MASH, The Love Boat, Growing Pains, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and JAG. In addition to Hell Night, Brophy also appeared in films such as The Long Riders and Goodfellas.
Hunters found him in the wilds of northern Minnesota. A boy raised from infancy by wolves. They captured him and brought him to the university where I was conducting research on human behavior. I named him Lucan.
Number 13, Eva Amore. Eva Amore's family secret is more scandalous than you knew. She's the daughter of Oscar winner Susan Sarandon, who briefly dated Italian director Franco Amore. Eva was raised by actor Tim Robbins, who had decades in a relationship with her mom, Susan Sarandon. Nowadays, she's working as an occasional model and as an actress in television and films.
I always felt that if they had empathy and a sense of decency and cared about people, that they would find their own path. I think I led by example, and I trusted, because they were good people, that they would find things that spoke to them specifically.
Number 12, Ronan Pharaoh. Ronan Pharaoh's parentage is a Hollywood puzzle. Ronan Pharaoh, who is clearly not Woody Allen's son, will neither confirm nor deny that he's the child of his mother's ex-husband, Frank Sinatra. But surely Ronan owns a mirror and knows the real story. Woody has even alluded to the matter in a recent memoir. Ronan just doesn't talk about it out of respect for his mother Mia. More surprising is that Ronan continues with this ambiguity and doesn't fess up after publicly accusing his father, Woody, of impropriety with a younger sibling 20-plus years ago.
Ronan Pharaoh is sharing his thoughts on his estranged father, Woody Allen. The political pundit penned an essay for The Hollywood Reporter centered around his sister Dylan's allegations that Allen sexually abused her as a child. Ronan says his mother, Mia Farrow, did not pursue charges against the director at the time in order to, quote, protect Dylan. Quote, my mother's decision to place Dylan's well-being above all else became a means for Woody Allen to smear them both.
Number 11, Richard Boyd Barrett. Richard Boyd Barrett's surprising Hollywood roots will shock you. Richard Boyd Barrett is an Irish politician and an activist from the left-wing political organization People Before Profit and Solidarity. He has been an elected member of the Irish Parliament, Dáil Éireann, since 2011. In 2007, it was revealed that he was the son of renowned Irish actress of stage and screen Sinead Cusack, wife of Oscar-winning actor Jeremy Irons. Cusack had a relationship with the Irish actor and director Vincent Dowling in 1966 and became pregnant and subsequently had her son adopted. Ireland in 1966 was deeply conservative and not very forgiving to single mothers, with many pressured into giving up their children for adoption or risk social isolation. Boyd Barrett's adopted brother Douglas was later discovered to be the secret son of disgraced Dublin priest, Father Michael Cleary, who had a very high profile in Irish media preaching morals on television and radio, but in secret had fathered children with his housekeeper.
I'd like to send my very best wishes on behalf of People Before Profit to the Afro Diaspora Centre on today, the International Day of Families. And I think it's a great day to celebrate families and the African diaspora here in Ireland who've made such a contribution to enriching Irish society.
Number 10, Ronda Ross Kendrick. Ronda Ross Kendrick's connection to a Hollywood legend is unexpected. Berry Gordy and Diana Ross clashed tempestuously over the management of the Supremes, but it was a love-hate sort of thing. According to his wife at the time, Ross only married her personal manager, Bob Silverstein, 2 weeks after first putting an ultimatum to Gordy to do the same. When Ross became pregnant, according to unauthorized biographies, she and Silverstein still felt it was only right to present the child as their own. Gordy, for this part, says it took him years to realize how much that child, Ronda, resembled him. She was only told her true parentage at 13 and apparently adjusted well to learning that her father was the man she and her two sisters called Uncle BB. Try to imagine the therapy bill that came out of that one.
Ronda was a preemie. She was 4 pounds 14 ounces. She was really a little baby, but she's wiry right now, and she's energetic, and she's just so very perfect, but she's always going to be a little girl. But she reminds me, I look at her and I see myself. You know,
that's a neat feeling.
Yeah, it really is beautiful because she teaches me a lot. You know, I see myself and I know, okay, this is what's happening with her.
Number 9. Joseph Baya. Joseph Baya's hidden Hollywood family ties are finally exposed. Arnold Schwarzenegger had an affair with the family housekeeper, Mildred Patricia Baya, while he was still married to his now ex-wife, Maria Shriver. Shriver and Schwarzenegger already had 4 children together, but in 1997, he fathered yet another son, a love child with Baya, who was born just 5 days after Arnold's other son, Christopher. Mildred named her son Joseph Baya, and for years the world had no idea that he was Schwarzenegger's son. According to reports, as Joseph started to grow up, he began to look more and more like his father. In 2011, however, Schwarzenegger finally admitted to his wife that Joseph was his biological son. The good news is that Arnold and Joseph have forged a relationship, with Schwarzenegger even publicly telling his son that he was proud of him and that he loved him. However, Arnold's wandering eye left him divorced and a new father.
For 14 years, housekeeper Mildred Baya harbored a secret she knew would be devastating to the woman she worked for every day. But in the end, the boy's looks gave his father away, the physical similarities too tough to ignore. Baya told Hello magazine that Maria Shriver clearly suspected the truth as early as last summer. She would say things like, "I'm here if you need to talk. I sensed something was up. I have so much love and respect for Maria," she said. In her first interview since the scandal broke, the 50-year-old former housekeeper told Hello that Shriver finally confronted her directly just before Christmas. Baya said she burst into tears, fell to her knees, and confessed everything. "She was so strong," Baya said, referring to Shriver. "She cried with me and told me to get off my knees. We held each other, and I told her it wasn't Arnie's fault, that it takes two." Baya, seen here in a photo obtained by TMZ, told Hello that she and Schwarzenegger had only a few sexual encounters, not a lengthy affair. She said the boy, Joseph, learned his father's identity about a year ago when his grandmother spilled the beans.
Number 8. Honey Hallman. Honey Hallman's Hollywood connection is a true revelation. Honey Hallman happens to be one of the 6 children of the retired actor and filmmaker. She was born from an affair with model Winnie Hallman during his 17-year relationship with actress Angelica Houston. She's an actress known for Empire North 2010 and Goes After Denmark 2002. She's the only daughter of her parents, Jack Nicholson and Winnie Hallman. She was born to her parents on January 26, 1982 in Copenhagen, Denmark, hence she's 42 years old. She's the 3rd child of her father. She has 5 half-siblings from a father named Ray Nicholson, Lorraine Nicholson, Jennifer Nicholson, Caleb James Goddard, and Tessa Gorin. Number 7. Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson's family history hides a Hollywood secret. Jack Nicholson is an American retired actor and filmmaker. He's a divorcee who has been married once. He's the father of 6 children, 4 daughters, and 2 sons. Jack Nicholson was born in April 1937 to a young showgirl named June Frances Nicholson. She married a showman named Donald Fursillo, although he was already married. June's mother insisted on raising the child, Jack, so that June could focus on her dancing career. Sounds all sort of sweet and the thing most any grandparent would do for their grandchild, right? Well, how about this for shocking? Jack Nicholson was raised thinking his grandparents were his parents and his mother was his sister. Say that 10 times fast. And how about Nicholson not finding out about his astounding truth until 1974 when he was 36 years old? By the time he found out, both his birth mother and grandmother had passed on. He does not know who his biological father is. Fursillo was a candidate, but so was June's manager, Eddie King. Only June and her mother know the truth, and Nicholson has since chosen not to find out. Gee, talk about needing some therapy.
I got this rat, this gnawing, eating f***ing rat.
Number 6. Jonathan Burkery. Jonathan Burkery's Hollywood parentage will leave you amazed. Tom Jones has denied that he has had a love child for more than 20 years. His son, Jonathan Burkery, was born after a 4-day affair with American Katherine Burkery, which reportedly took place in his hotel room at the New York Ritz-Carlton Hotel in 1987. Katherine was determined to get Jones to acknowledge that Jonathan was his son. She requested DNA tests, and a lengthy legal battle ensued. While Jones reportedly finally agreed to pay monthly child support, as well as give her a lump payout, he refused to publicly admit that Jonathan was his child. This rejection caused a number of problems for Jonathan, who told Daily Mail, "I was one angry kid. I wanted to legitimately kill people." He also admits to taking drugs to numb the pain and the resentment of his father's rejection.
That she was the person you have always loved and continue to love.
Of course, yeah. And she beat me up one night.
Number 5. Algra Houston. Algra Houston's family ties to Hollywood are more complex than you think. This story has a tragic beginning, but a truly enchanted ending. The famous film director John Huston was married to his fourth wife, Enrica Sonoma, from 1950 to 1969. Sometime in the early 1960s, both husband and wife became estranged. In 1964, Allegra was born out of an affair her mother had had with John Julius Norwich, Viscount of Norwich. When Enrica passed on tragically in 1969 in a car accident, John Huston immediately picked up the pieces and raised Allegra as his own child. I don't know many people who would raise another man's child, but he did. Algra Houston wrote about her two fathers and about her two sets of siblings, as well as being both American and English, in a wonderful autobiography called Love Child, a memoir of family lost and found. Today, Allegra is a successful writer and has a family of her own. She looks back at everything she was put through with grace and wisdom. What do you think about these love children? Can you imagine keeping up with such secrets for so many years?
And then it became a problem as to who my father was. Before that, it didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
But where would I live? Who would look after me? Who would, stand parent to me? And that person, the person who stood up, came up to the plate there was Dad. Well, when I was 4, I was led into a hotel room. I think my mother was already dead because it wasn't she who led me into the room. And introduced to this man with a cigar and told, "This is your father."
Number 4. James Loder. James Loder's surprising Hollywood heritage is uncovered. Famed actress Hii Lamar, who made movie history with her nude swimming scene in Ecstasy, deceived her eldest son all the way to the grave, insisting he had been adopted, new evidence suggests. But James Loder, whom Lamar booted from her home when he was a young boy, is actually the star's natural son, an investigation in the March issue of Talk magazine says. The Austrian-born Lamar died in January 2000 at the age of 85 in her home in Orlando, Florida. She left behind between $1 million and $2 million to her two younger kids, Denise and Tony, but cut Loder out of her will completely. Lamar had always referred to James as her adopted child, and when he was 11, she shipped him off to boarding school and seemed to wash her hands of him. But Loder always felt there was more to his birth than he knew. And that hunch was confirmed when he recently tracked down a copy of his birth certificate, which shows he was born as James Lamar Loder, the magazine says. At the time, Lamar was wed to Jean Markey, but the father was listed as John Loder, who would marry her 4 years later. Number 3. Roberto Rosolini Jr. Roberto Rosolini Jr.'s Hollywood lineage is revealed. Rossellini's arrival in the world was just the last stage of a brewing scandal. His mother, Ingrid Bergman, was married to a neurosurgeon when she conceived. But she'd been having a torrid public affair with the director of her latest movie, Roberto Rosolini. The press first got wind of it during shooting on the volcanic Italian island of Stromboli. Bergman's husband, Peter Lindstrom, flew out to try to rescue the marriage, but ultimately, he failed. Thereupon followed some epic legal wrangling. An Austrian divorce was contemplated, then a Mexican one. And all the while, Bergman denied rumors that she was pregnant, right up to the day she gave birth to Roberto Rosolini Jr. in a Rome hospital. Because she was still married, even her lawyer told the press the baby might have to be named Lindstrom. But eventually, the divorce decree came through, and Bergman married Rosolini, though not until after a lot of saber-rattling by errant senators about how her moral turpitude would prevent her from ever being readmitted to the United States. She would divorce Rosolini 7 years later, which seems like a bit of a short marriage to waste such Sturm und Drang on. At least she got Roberto, who would later go on to date Princess Caroline of Monaco, and his twin sisters Isolda and Isabella Rossellini out of it. Number 2. Geraldine Fitzgerald. Geraldine Fitzgerald was a Hollywood actress who hailed from Ireland and starred in films such as Wuthering Heights 1939 and Dark Victory 1939. For modern audiences, she was in Poltergeist Part 2, playing Carol Ann's grandmother, who was also clairvoyant. Fitzgerald was married to Sir Edward Lindsay Hogg, while Orson Welles was married to his first wife, Virginia Nicholson. They had a brief affair, and whether or not their prospective spouses knew is unknown. They did, however, move their families nearby one another, and the product of their affair, a son named Michael Lindsay Hogg, grew alongside Christopher Wells Feeder, his half-sister. If that sounds strange to you, well, it is. Michael was never told that Wells was his father, but his half-sister claimed to always feel that he could be her brother. Eventually, he did take a DNA test, and it was confirmed that Wells was indeed his father. His mother, Fitzgerald, never admitted this to him, and she has since passed on. Michael is a British film and theater director, and his sister Chris wrote an autobiography called In My Father's Shadow. Number 1. Judy Lewis. Judy Lewis's untold Hollywood story is finally revealed. Imagine being a child of a Hollywood starlet and everyone around you whispering and saying, "Doesn't she look so much like Clark Gable?" Little Judy Lewis grew up thinking she was adopted by Loretta Young when she was a year old. When she was 15 years old, Gable came over to her mother's house. It was the first time she met her father and the only time Gable ever knew one of his children while he was still alive. His son, John Clark Gable, was born 4 months after Gable passed on. The story goes that Judy found out who her father was on her wedding day. She was the only one that didn't know. At the age of 31, Lewis confronted her mother, who confirmed the truth. Young wrote an autobiography called Uncommon Knowledge. In 2000, it was finally published after Young's passing and also finally confirming the truth that Lewis was indeed Gable's child. Lewis passed on in 2011, leaving behind a daughter, Maria, and 2 grandsons. Probably the most famous one of all time, Judy's biological parents are actor Clark Gable and actress and entertainer Loretta Young. For all her childhood years, Judy thought she was adopted and thought her father was Tom Lewis, which was adopted from his last name. It seemed like Loretta Young adopted her when she was a baby and quickly married Tom Lewis shortly after to raise her as their first child. It was only in her adulthood that she found out, based on rumors circulating for many years, that she was the illegitimate child of actor Clark Gable and Loretta Young. Judy confronted her supposed adopted mom to get the confirmation that all the gossip surrounding her wasn't adopted. It turns out Loretta Young was her real biological mom, and she was not adopted by Loretta Young. The truth about the secrecy in regards to her birth was a cover-up because Hollywood systems prohibited scandals between the 2 famous actors. Also, this affair would ruin the 2 famous actors' careers if people in the 30s would find this affair scandalous. You could probably Google Judy's life story and what leads from her mother's claim of rape allegation that leads to Judy's birth and the cover story on Judy's adoption by Loretta Young to cover the shame in the 30s out of wedlock births. She wound up not talking to her mom for a period in their later years when she authored a startling revelation book about her life and revelations about her true parents.
On location to film Call of the Wild.
My mother, Loretta Young, did Call of the Wild. Well, the first time I knew who my father was, I was 23, and I was 2 weeks away from being married. And I said to my fiance, I said, "I can't marry you. I don't know who I am." And he smiled and he said, "Well, I know everything there is to know about you." He said, "You're Clark Gable's daughter."
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more intriguing celebrity revelations. Check out our channel for more captivating stories that you won't want to miss.